guys, I'm Corey.
And I'm Kyra. Welcome to Above the Bar,
where every week we have conversations and libations with a legal twist.
So about 4 or 5 years ago, we passed the bar. So here we are with you guys now sharing some current events just with a legal perspective and some of our favorite cocktail libations.
And it was my week this week.
It was. So Corey, what did you make?
So I saw Instagram, because Instagram gives you good information, right?
Sometimes.
That today was National Sangria Day.
Ooh.
So, what did I make? Sangria. Because I couldn't let you guys down. I want you to celebrate today to the fullest, as you should. And sangria is an amazing way to try out different recipes, try out different wines, try out different fruits, and that's exactly what we did. So if you want to see the whole recipe, it will be on Facebook Live, it'll be on our Instagram page, but long story short, it's wine, red wine for us. It's a red wine sangria that we are drinking, but any kind of wine. We did brandy and we did a triple sec. We did Grand Marnier actually, and some simple syrup.
Yes. That we made ourselves.
That we made ourselves, which is boiling water and putting sugar in it. But nonetheless, we're going to give ourselves credit for making it. And so it's homemade. Everything's homemade. I cut these myself.
She opened the bottle.
I opened the bottle. I cut some oranges, apples, and lemons, and boom, look, I made sangria.
Awesome. And it is quite delicious. Very refreshing. Not too heavy, but really good.
Yeah, and so it keeps you from feeling like such a wino because you put ice in it, right?
And speaking of wino, the great thing about these glasses,
I wish I had thought of this,
is that you could fit a whole bottle of wine in this one glass.
So sometimes with sangria, you feel like obliged because you're going to pour a whole bottle in there, a whole bottle of wine, so you make like a big pitcher for everyone, which is great for the holidays, but not so great if you're by yourself at your house.
True. So with this, you can go ahead and just mix everything like Corey did in the glass instead of having to pour it in another container and then pour it in your glass. She just did it right in glass.
All in one glass. And don't forget the best part, the fruit is yours to eat at the end.
So it's delicious and nutritious.
I don't know what wine does to these nutrients, but we're going to say it's nutritious and delicious. Perfect bacon dinner.
Oh, okay. I didn't go that far. I did not go that
bacon
far.
dinner, yummy, in a glass.
So today is National Sangria Day. And in addition to today, some other crazy stuff went down.
Oh, we have so much to talk about, and it's like not fun stuff. We'll try to make it fun, but we're going to post actually on our our Facebook group a link to a really good resource from MSN about the changes that you could face with what? Tax reform.
Taxes.
It's passed today. It failed yesterday because of a slight glitch that some of the other senators caught and fought against, but it's passed. It's now come to fruition. So let's talk about it. What's it going to do to your pocket? Now, what it's going to do to my pocket?
So it passed in a 241 to 201 votes. And there are some big changes that are coming. A lot of people are kind of anxious with regards to the implications to the individuals, whether it's family, whereas these corporations are going to get more of a tax break.
Yes.
The kind of thing that's crazy to me that I'm interested to see how this plays out is with regards to exemptions no longer kind of being part of the equation of your taxes.
No exemptions.
A lot of the credits are going away, and they're saying that the reason they want these credits to go away is so that everybody just does the standard deduction instead of hassling with the itemized deductions.
I mean, I think though, itemized deduction is like a reward for hard work. Okay, because if I'm not just doing taxes. I'm going through. I'm being more of a careful caretaker on an annual basis of what I should be keeping track of. I'm keeping my receipts at the end of the year. If I give to a charity, I want my receipt. If I give here, I want a receipt because it's all tax deductible. So I mean, and I guess everyone's different. Everybody has a different filing strategy. But the saddest thing to me, and it's a lot of deductions, I'm a single mom, or that will go away. But the saddest one to me,
what's that?
as a nonprofit founder, is that there is no more tax deduction if you donate to a 501c.
That is the stupidest thing ever. Like, I really don't understand what their logic was behind. I mean, there's a lot of things in this reform that I believe just kind of baffled by, but that's really the main thing that I'm just like, nonprofits are here to serve the community, and they're here to fill gaps where government agencies may be lacking.
Yeah.
So you're going to fault people who are taking out of their hard-earned money to donate to these organizations so that they can make a difference.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, United Way is saying that they anticipate it's going to make, I think they anticipated like a $20 million difference in what the donations are.
Wow.
That people are making individually, because why would you want to be taxed on something that you decide
just to give away?
To give to the worthy cause that touches your heart.
Right.
And we all have different ones that touch our heart. And, you know, I personally have a nonprofit, and then you just have to kind of completely reformulate how you structure things, how you talk to people. And I'm not talking about a $20 donation. I mean, when people are really reaching in their pocket,
right,
and making thousands of dollars, thousands, or whatever is, you know, cuts deep for them,
right,
they have to rethink it. And so you forget, I think this even impacts like your church, because to date, any tithes you give at the end of the year, your church gives you your form, and it's tax deductible and no longer. And I think they're saying it counterbalance, or they're saying it, in most people's case, I mean, I think you have to check for yourself. I'll say that.
It counterbalances what?
Because they're doubling the standard deduction. Okay? And then they're taking away all the itemized deductions.
So I get that with regards to the individual who's donating, but there's still no, I don't want to say there's an incentive, but a lot of people do give because they know that they'll give a write-off. And that's a lot of reason why companies do get that 501c certificate or filing status, so that they can say to people, I'm 501c, and if you donate to me, it'll be tax deductible.
It kind of makes that filing status, and I'm wondering, because he's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of stuff to that division of the IRS. But what does it mean anymore? Because there's no incentive. Like it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of due diligence to get that status with the IRS, and then kind of you have it, but not for what? Because what I think this, and I'll be honest, I am a small business attorney, so there's opportunities here. True. All the deductions that you can no longer file as yourself are still available to all the companies. So when people are having this argument of if it's a good plan or not, it's a good plan to somebody. And if you are a LLC, a corporation, a partnership, and you file with the whatever your Secretary of State is, it might be a good plan for you, because all the deductions you can't take as an individual are now available. So instead of taking cash out of your small business, you can decide to revert that to a charitable organization of your choice, and it is still tax deductible.
Speaking of incentives for people who have LLCs, corporations, and things like that, another tax break for those individuals is this pass-through. And the pass-through is if you don't take a salary, but you partake in the distribution of the profits. Yes. And that's how you get paid from the company. That was taxed before, I think it's 35%, and now it's like 27 or 24%.
But it can go even lower if you actually utilize the pass-through. You can find a way to get even lower. And this is why, for me, this tax plan is made to make rich people richer. Yeah, because most rich people have money that comes through a corporation, some sort of company, and they're able to just more strategically plan for their tax bill. Exactly. Just like someone else famous.
The president himself.
Yeah, the president himself. And, they could already deduct their tax bill. I mean, the president said that he deducted his tax bill to almost paying nothing. And so, can you imagine if you make millions of dollars and you're able to do your taxes so you get a refund?
Jesus. I don't understand.
So, you have a lot of, it's a split jury, but I just saw one of the Disney Harrises, and she had a video where she was saying, this tax plan is crazy. Like, why should someone who's passing through, and this is in the inheritance part, but passing through millions of dollars
that she attributed, she did not earn.
She did not earn, and now can get that tax free. So some of these loopholes to me are very clearly earmarked for the very rich, and then other ones are just mean. And they're. Let me not say that. It's not all mean. There are some things that they were able to keep, and I was very nervous because between the House plan and the Senate plan, there were some big differences. I can still deduct my student loan interest, and I was nervous because that bill is cuckoo.
And the teachers, one good thing that I was glad to see is that teachers can still, they still have their credit.
I'm not glad about that because I think teachers are probably the most undervalued citizens in America. It's hard being a teacher.
I agree.
I can't teach my own children. I'll be honest with y'all. Like, my patience runs real fast, and I'm like, why do you understand? I just told you. So they're undervalued, and they did have a fight between the House and Senate. One was going to reduce it, and one was going to double it.
They wanted to eliminate it altogether.
No, the two different plans, the House plan and the Senate plan.
Oh, okay.
So because they couldn't come to a compromise, they just left it alone. But it's just $250.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I could spend $250 on my one daughter.
Yeah.
At Office Depot when it's time to get school supplies. So I know these teachers are reaching in their pockets more than $250.
Exactly. But I also see that they could still get something.
They can get something, but I don't think it's enough.
I agree with that. But I think that was their compromise by I don't know if it was the Senate or the House. Like you say, one wanted to double it, one wanted to eliminate it, and was like, okay, if we can't meet equal grounds, we'll just keep it as is for now.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I hope that in the future that is significantly increased.
I mean, it should just be whatever they buy, because as a teacher, you normally register with Office Depot, Office Max, whatever. It should be whatever they buy.
Exactly. But you mentioned on a point earlier with regards to this clearly being earmarked to make the rich wealthier. So there was part of the tax reform in the past, or part of the tax bill in the past, was the alternative tax maximum, which was something to make sure that the very wealthy pay at least something. So they have all kind of loopholes set up for them, that they at least pay something in taxes. Well, guess what? That has been eliminated. So the one regard to make sure that they pay something is now off the table altogether. So it's like, clearly this is in their benefit. And
I saw a senator who was like, if I don't get this tax bill pushed through, the people who support me, my wealthy donors, are just gonna revolt, because some people do just want to get richer. It's not about the economy. It's not about our country. It's about getting richer. I'm not saying that's across the board. I think some people think it's a good tax plan, but I think some people just don't clearly understand what it does to them individually.
This is something that I think will touch some people individually, is if you get a divorce in 2018, if you sign for a divorce in 2018, in 2019, the person who pays the money, who pays the alimony, will be taxed, and the person who receives it will not have to pay anything.
I think this touches the heart of a lot of
That
people with
is
a lot of
crazy. If you get a divorce between now and the end of the year, or any time before now, then it will stay the same, whereas the person who paid the alimony will get the deduction, and the person receiving it will have to pay the taxes, which makes sense to me. So to tell me I have earned this money, I have to give it to this person who I'm no longer married to, and I get taxed on it, and they don't have to pay any taxes on it. Free! So I wonder how many people are gonna run to the courthouse like, look, I don't care, let's just settle this real quick.
Probably the biggest concern to me, outside of getting rid of head of household, which for me as a single mom was important. But I had to come to grips with this tax plan when it was in the works, because I saw that the likelihood of it going through was high. But it really impacts a lot of people, and especially with the healthcare, because I think Trump has called victory to killing the Affordable Care Act.
Well, that's not quite what he's done.
No, it's definitely not what he's done, because I think there has been a shift, a paradigm shift, and we will have to see how that works out, because this change with the new tax plan does not take place until the end of 2018 or 2019. But it has to do with the Affordable Care Act, and there is no longer a tax penalty for people who don't have insurance, which is an important part of Affordable Care Act, because it encourages everybody to get insurance, because we all carry the brunt of uninsured people going to the hospital. If you're not
Exactly.
insured, a hospital, if it's an emergency, they cannot refuse you. And if you have $1 million worth of surgeries, they can't refuse you. Who pays?
And then too, if you don't have health care, then the chances of you going to the doctor on a regular basis to prevent some of these high cost surgeries or things like that are very unlikely. So you're not going to go get care until it's like absolutely necessary and you have to have this high bill. Whereas if you were going to the doctor on a regular basis because you had health insurance, then there could have been some proactive means taken so that you wouldn't pay nearly as much as you would in the end. So
my mom made a very good point, because actually I went to a CME years ago where, you know, we call it the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, but the presenter was really like, it's just insurance reform. It's making sure that they do things that are important to us as a nation, like insure everything, not having a pre-existing cause, or you know, things that were making people uninsurable or putting them in this high risk pools. It eliminated. So in that sense, it was insurance reform. So it's funny because it's just a mental thing. People are fighting about having to buy insurance or being penalized. But how many people fight when you have to buy insurance to drive a car?
It is what it is.
You just do it.
Exactly. Or insurance for your home or anything else.
That's optional. But to drive a car, right, you get penalized if you don't have insurance.
That's a very good point.
Nobody questions it. Everybody goes along with it. To me, it's like the brainwash of insurance companies. It's like, don't look at us. Look at them. You know,
exactly. Exactly.
From everything I saw, Aetna, Humana, Blue Cross Blue Shield, they're making profits. That's not the case for every physician. So I have a sore spot in my heart for physicians, obviously. But, I just think across the board, there's some unfairness that we have to address.
And I think a lot of people in the past have talked about Canada and how Canada has this universal health care and, we should be more like Canada. And then, no, even Obama said that this Obamacare and Affordable Care Act is not perfect, but it was a start. And so to say that we have something that models a universal health care plan or a health care plan that provides opportunities for health services to everyone, why would that be something that we would want to completely just diminish and wipe off the table? Like, to me, that's very insensitive.
I just think it's insensitive, but people always think it applies to someone else, right? Until they're the person who could be potentially destitute if your insurance company says, no, this medicine some medicines, I'll be honest, I know of patients who are getting drops for glaucoma. This is not like a life-threatening, you could definitely go blind, but not life-threatening, that are $300 a month.
I had a friend's father who needed a medication in order to live. Like, if he didn't take this medication, he was going to die. And it ranged like at $700 something. And it's like, he needs it to live, but as the monthly expense, like, that is crazy.
I would be checking my budget. Like, you would be like in the dark. My budget would be like in the dark. Maybe gas is just in the sun.
Yeah. That's true. So
or like pulling a extension cord from my neighbor's house. And he's like, were you in my yard?
I'm just trying to live right now.
I just want to live.
Put a sympathy card like you can, but not trying to make light of that, but just saying, like, some people do have to face that reality, and that is a fact.
And especially, the saddest part to me, outside of many people who are in a high tax, we're in Texas, we're blessed. So some of the deductions, the limitations, is a $10,000 limitation on deductions that you've already taken for your state and local taxes.
Right.
But for most people in Texas, unless you're uber super rich or live in a very big house, it's not applicable. But some people in California, in New Jersey, in New York, Chicago, you're paying crazy taxes. My best friend's taxes are crazy. Every time she talks about them to me, they make my stomach hurt. I want to get off the phone. They're high. And now these people are facing a limitation on the deductions they can take. So it's like double taxation to me. I'm paying my state, I'm paying my local taxes, and now I have to turn around and pay the same money that's gone. I don't have it no more.
Right.
I have to pay it to the IRS for my federal taxes. And so they're saying it's a huge redistribution of wealth from areas and by no means are all these areas wealthy just because they pay a higher property tax. It depends on the city they live in, or whatever municipalities they have. So it's just really deep, and I think we have to wait a year to see, because people won't really get mad about it. I think there's a lot of people excited, and then next year, when they do their taxes for 2018, they're gonna be like, oh, I have no money.
And then another thing is that with a lot of these changes, the corporate changes are permanent, whereas the deductions and shifts for individuals will only last through 2025.
Yeah.
So I'm also kind of interested to know, like, do they even have any type of, I'm sure that, people are like, well, that's years from now. It is, but I still want to know, do they have any type of, like, fallback for when those things fall off?
The taxes for, like, claiming your children, I think it's, like, 2 years before they start weaning it.
Okay.
I will say that your 529 plan, if you have a savings plan, a college savings plans for your kids, it actually is now applicable if you have them in higher
K through 12.
K through 12.
That's awesome.
And my daughter's high school is expensive, so I'm excited about that. There's some parts to it that I'm sure people, depending on your situation, may be excited about.
Right.
But I think that if you pretty much have a bunch of kids, you're gonna be sad.
They say that it for kind of the more immediate effect is that your immediate taxes will be lower, so you'll see some type of an increase on your weekly or bi-weekly or monthly paycheck. So that's what they say.
Okay, and just know that before this, I think this is important, because people are not going to pay attention to it and probably until next year, because the same rules are going to apply. But you used to be able to go to your employer and say, I want to take
this many exemptions. Or
I don't know how many kids you had, what you were forecasting for your taxes. That's not going to exist. It still exists now because they don't know what to do, but it's not going to exist again. And because there are no exemptions, right? It's a standard deduction.
That's crazy. So now the Treasury has to come up with a new kind of, there will still be the 7 brackets, but the Treasury has to come up with kind of a new tax system, because like you say, those exemptions and allowances will not be there anymore. We're kind of going to play tit for tat. You're going to do negative, I'm going to do positive. Another positive is that the credit for the elderly and disabled is still there.
Okay, but if you live in a state where you have a reduction in your what you can claim for your federal and local taxes,
for your local, for that 10,000,
that is ate up. It's like
we'll come up with another positive.
Okay.
So for healthcare, speaking of healthcare, since they did all the crappy stuff to it, I guess this was trying to be it's not even a makeup, but it's just something on the table. If before in the past, if your healthcare expenses exceeded 10% of your income.
Okay, I hate that. Have you tried to do that calculation? Do you know how hard it is to try to get
7.5? Oh no, I already think I don't know why it has to be a certain amount over your income.
It should be whatever I pay these people.
That's what I think. Or even if it matches, obviously if it matches your income and surpasses your income, you're in the hole. So why does it have to be the 7.5 or the 10%? But before it was 10%, they brought it down to 7.5 or 7.5%. I still think it's ridiculous that it has to be anything over your income, or why can't they just match or give you the deduction for what you pay for medical expenses?
To me, that's a very hard deduction to get, and I've tried it.
I
had a baby and I didn't qualify. I had a whole baby come out of my whole vagina, and I didn't qualify. All that was whole.
So what this shows is that I've really tried to find some positivity.
I found some positivity. I talked about the 529.
Yeah. But I think that's only for, it's still positive, but it's only for private schools or religious schools, which...
That's not public school. I'm paying my money.
True.
Lots of money. In fact, it's due now. The bill's right over there. And look, you'll be frightened. It'll be turned into a scary story. So let's talk about something fun, because that was not fun.
Let's talk about someone who's quite entertaining. Or let's talk about Mr. Don't Stop, Won't Stop.
The D, the
D, the Y, the D, the I, the
It's Diddy. Hey!
So Diddy is talking about how he wants to purchase the Carolina Panthers.
So, we've done a lot of talking about Me Too, and guess what? The owner of the Panthers is feeling
out of there.
He's feeling Me Too, okay? Because he's like, dang, it's getting hot in the kitchen. Gotta get out. Right? You say, It's getting hot in here.
So okay.
So Sell the Panthers. That's the new end to that song. Sell the Panthers. Because we've heard that there have been some claims that he has some sexual harassment claims on the horizon, and to avoid it, to not become the new Donald Sterling, he just was like, I don't want nothing. I don't want no Panthers. So. Which, to me, honestly, who could complain? When he bought it, it was worth something in the millions. Now it's worth 2.5.
He's definitely grown that worth
billion.
Yeah.
And this is ranked like the 21st ranked NFL team. And I don't know how many teams there are, but I don't think there are that many. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point.
That's not like the top.
That's a good point.
So they're saying the total worth is that, but he only owns, I think, 46%.
Right.
But it was a majority interest between him and his family.
Right.
And now it's for sale. So either they're going to sell the whole team, everyone at the interest will sell, or the majority interest will sell.
Right. So Diddy says that he wants in on it. He wants to purchase it. This would be a historic deal because there's no majority owner for any NFL team. I don't really think.
Yes, there is the Jaguars owner is Indian, I think.
I was gonna say not that he was black, but minority, yes.
Don't quote me on that, Indian. I don't know. I don't know.
So it would be great to see.
I erased that comment.
Someone who is representative and reflective of the players actually in the boardroom, and
because I think it's 70-30. I think like 70% of NFL players are African American, and so I think it would be great, and I think it would be great for their publicity.
Yeah, and
given everything that they face, to say
and what's going on in the league currently.
That is inclusive.
Yeah,
from top to bottom, because the bottom is very inclusive, right?
And then Kaepernick says that he wants in on the deal, which I think would be great to have a player in the boardroom who can voice and reflect and kind of show the perspective of the players on the field and have their interests protected from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a humongous step, and I think whatever the catalyst it was that made him want to sell is a great opportunity for someone. Now, will they try to block it and keep it from this group that Diddy's trying to form? Maybe. And, to be honest with you, the cost is high. And having liquid money and having money are two different things. I think Diddy is very wealthy. Diddy will.
Don't get it wrong.
Call me. I can't make the bed because I cannot sing, but I could be an assistant or something for like a day.
We can make something else.
Yeah, but
that's not wrong. I'm sorry.
But do I think that everybody has that kind of liquidity? I know that most people don't. Even you put your money in certain investments, certain things. But Diddy is a super wealthy guy.
And one thing is, I think that the value of the team may be more than his total net worth right now. But what people don't realize is that a lot of these teams are owned by a collective group of investors.
Absolutely.
So it does not just mean that this one investor owns an entire team solely with nobody else's financial input.
They have like a head. I think
they have
here for
majority
the
owner.
Rockets.
Right.
We have
I don't know who it is. Somebody.
Furtada.
Oh, he did just.
Yeah, he's the owner of the Rockets.
He did just,
so I mean, it's usually someone who represents a bunch of people because let's be honest. Even if you have it as rich people, like when you want to like
all your eggs in one basket, no.
Pull it.
That's how they got rich. They diversified their portfolio.
So I mean, we've heard that other NBA players are interested in this group, and I think Steph Curry, and so we're going to see that Diddy, I think, is having a meeting with these people that are interested, and I think it's a great idea. I think
so too.
What better place than the Panthers and where they're located and the demographics of that area for that to be a representative ownership.
And I think it would be a paradigm shift for not only the NFL, but for all sports leagues. And the idea of what you see as an owner and the opportunities that you would or would not go after.
I mean, I think it's always been like a money thing.
Yeah.
But now we have to face the reality. As opposed to, I mean, there was a broadcast. I think it was from I don't know where it was from. Let me not lie. But there was she brought someone on her show who was actually a co-host, and he was actually black.
Okay.
But he was like, Diddy, he looks high when he's saying this.
Drinking a
Instagram
40
post. He's
and
drinking,
blah, blah, blah.
I mean, first of all, Diddy is wealthy. Like, if you're still working,
you're
probably not wealthy. Like, I mean, Warren Buffett still works, but you know,
the majority of us,
the majority of people, the people who we're talking about, the people talking about this, probably not wealthy like Diddy.
And which the girl was, the lady was like, what does he do? I mean, what does he do besides just drink and smoke and blah, 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 blah,
and
blah.
Smoke what? I mean, I just thought
haters. That's what I thought.
It was haters, but it was.
Yeah, I thought something else, but I won't say.
Yeah, I will be honest. I'll be forthcoming. I thought it was very specific.
Oh no, most
it
definitely.
was like he was drinking 40s and things like that. Like
most definitely.
And it was just insulting. I think that he's deserved an apology, irregardless of what you think of Diddy. If you think he could really buy it or not, you know.
Because that was defaming towards his character. Because you were showing out language and kind of suggestions of him being high and smoking and like he doesn't do anything when he does a lot and he runs a lot of organizations. He's definitely a great businessman, which is why he's at the level that he's at.
That's the whole reason. He was never the entertainer necessarily in the group, although he has become an entertainer. He was a manager. And he was what I'm always saying about an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. He's been an entrepreneur. I think it's like at the heart of you. It's at the core of you. And most people I know who end up with a successful business, they had 5 before it. That's right. And he's been a promoter since he was in his teens. Since he went to, I think, Hampton. Did he go to Hampton or Howard?
What's there?
HBCU. So I'm
one of those HUs.
I'm gonna call y'all out.
I know y'all say the real HU. I don't know which one.
No. I went to FAMU, so
I went to
the biggest
WI. Anyway,
so but that's always been his spirit, and I think it has just shown in his grown,
right? Yeah, for him to go to this next level.
And we've seen Jay-Z. There wasn't the same commentary when he introduced Tidal. Right. He became a sports agent. He started a sports agency, and so I think people are
his hand into the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes. So I think it's very specific to kind of draw not just attention to it, but like we don't want Diddy owning it, but Diddy, I'm sure, can reach out to almost any entertainer in the planet and say, come perform, and they will come. So I would be like, yes, if I was in the city, I had season tickets, yes, I want to see everybody at halftime.
It's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be Beyonce at halftime, just at the game. That's what I would think.
So another person that's making a shift or trying to make a shift in the athletic and professional sports arena is, y'all know, Lavar Ball, big baller brand.
I mean, that's the biggest debatable thing. I just saw a friend. I have a friend on Facebook, and he is a big supporter. I'm shouting you out. You know who you are. And he's always like, yeah, this man is trying to build an empire for himself and his kids. And I had my own opinions about it, but then I saw him. He was on the Breakfast Club. I heard him. He was on the Breakfast Club, and the boys were so meek and timid. And
I saw the interview on Facebook, but I didn't listen to it.
He was so boisterous, as he always is. That's kind of how he built this brand. Shout out to him for building the brand, because I respect that. But as a parent, what I always tell people is I make baby birds to fly. The only baby birds I'm making is ones that fly. Not fly behind me, not fly next to me, fly in front of me. That's how I'm raising baby birds. And I feel like the interview was dominated by him. Okay. His sons are all different ages, but who are you raising? So if you die tomorrow, this is all the point. I had a very close personal death to me last week, or the week before last. So who are you raising to fulfill your legacy? If that's what you think, if Lavar Ball is your legacy, who is taking over after you leave?
Happens, right.
And if you're building it off of your personality and the talk you talk and the walk you walk,
push your boys to have that same big voice that you have.
Not the same big voice. They have to have their own.
But have their.
But it has to be as firm as yours.
Right.
It don't have to be the same as yours. It don't have to be as loud as yours.
Right. No, that's what I meant.
It has to be as firm.
Exactly.
As firm in itself. So if you're not raising your kids that way, guess what happens? You build this thing, because part of it is we think tomorrow is a long time away. Tomorrow might be tomorrow, literally tomorrow. So if he dies tomorrow, who takes over Lavar Ball? Which one of them? The three? Because all three of them, to be honest, to me, seem very timid.
And see, I did not. I'm gonna have to listen to the interview now because I did not. I saw it, but I did not take the time to listen to it. But I have not seen them speak very much. It's always been him speaking on their behalf, whether it's for the situation that happened in China or even
I think
with
that was crazy too.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Because he was like, my school made me apologize. Well, why can't you
should
thank
apologize
somebody?
yourself.
Let me say something. I'm not. It's probably clear if you watch our podcast. I'm not like we Trump, but if he got me out of Chinese prison, I would be like, yo. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Get me out of this. I mean, they just, it's respect where respect is due.
Because the fact is you did do something wrong.
Because
and you could have faced this punishment because you rightly did this wrong and this is what happened.
And you admitted to it. You said I stole these glasses, irregardless if you said everybody was stealing glasses and so I stole some.
Right.
But you stole them.
Right.
And that's a big deal in other countries.
Yeah.
And for you to turn around and say, oh, well, I only thank the president because the school made me. You should thank anybody who let you out. Because Chinese prison is not American prison. It's no joke. And you should, I would be like, oh my God. And so it just shows a certain level of privilege to me that I'm uncomfortable with. You should be thankful. I don't care if, I could care less if you like him or not. If the president with, you know, because he could ignore you.
Exactly.
And I don't think he would feel bad if he ignored you. He would be like, it's nothing. But he gave you some attention.
He did.
And if it was a baby part or a big part, who cares?
He said something to help you get out.
It was something.
So, I definitely agree with all of that. But I kind of do agree. I don't know the full spectrum of him saying that he wants this Junior Basketball Association.
Okay, so what is that?
So what he's trying to develop is currently, if you want to go to the NBA, you have to be 19 and 1 year removed from high school. So that's why a lot of players go to college and do this 1 year and done. And a lot of people have the issue.
Didn't LeBron go directly from high school?
So it came in after like LeBron and
Kobe.
Yes, it came in after they were already in the league. And so some people have the issue when they say, well, these schools make all this money off of these players. And the players do, you know, put in all this time. And they're not, and I know some people say, well, they get an education. But the fact is they're not there for the education. They literally go from 1 year and then go to be drafted for the NBA. Yeah. So his junior league or Junior Basketball Association is to get 80 players, 10 teams. The lowest player will be paid $3,000. The highest player will be paid $10,000 a month. Yes. And this will allow them that 1 year interim between high school and then getting drafted for the NBA. I think he said he wants to do it in cities like Atlanta, Dallas, why not Houston, California, and New York. Why those arenas, I'm not sure, but no deals have been made. He thinks it'll be easy to get these athletes, which I kind of do too.
The athletes are easy. It's
because they
don't.
It's
the crowds. But you can't pay somebody $10,000 a month a team
if you don't have the crowd.
If you don't have the crowds, and we've seen it from WNBA, which I think is a very high-packed, energetic game. But even the WNBA, I mean, Houston had a team. It was a championship team, and I went enough times. My aunt had season tickets, and it was never packed.
But I think some of these high school, I don't know, not all of them, but some of these high school players do have a following, which is kind of crazy. But they have so much of a following that like Nike and Adidas will kind of seek them out at such a young age and try to get them to sign deals with them. So I think that I think what he's doing is he's seeing kind of a crack in the market and he's trying to find a way to
I mean, I agree with that. But I think what college could be, what it may not be to a lot of NFL players, but anyone who's like, it's college a waste. Because now if you go to college, you kind of need a graduate degree, what do you do? I think it's on the pure basis that it's a learning experience. It's a preset for everything you need to know about life because paradigms shift from high school to college. Because you're around a whole new set of people. And you have to learn what that is. A lot of these players, not to be funny, are leaving all black schools for all white environments. Right? Learning who to trust. Learning Things like keeping your schedule. If you're going to classes, keeping your schedule, doing your work, doing this stuff benefits you later.
I agree with that. But then on the other part where these colleges trying to say that they're great for the student,
I mean, they should be getting paid.
Not just that, but a lot of this, like, for example, if you're an athlete, sometimes in certain programs, you can only do certain majors that fit within their program schedule.
But that's how you choose your school.
True.
So I think part of it is, that's what when you're learning who to trust, who can guide you and who cannot. Sometimes you have to depart from guidance from who you knew because you're on a level that they cannot understand, right?
Right.
So it could be your first step. Like, that's true for a lot of schools, but if you go to Princeton, what can you study?
But how many players are getting drafted from Princeton to the NBA? So if your sole goal is to go to the NBA, you don't care about that stuff, and you're going to go to a program that has a very affluent program. I think
NBA, NFL. NBA is better than NFL, but I think across the board, you just have to understand what the odds are.
Most definitely.
You have to understand what the odds are of A, you getting drafted.
Most definitely.
B, you having a career that lasts longer than.
Definitely.
The NFL is like 3 years. The NBA is 5 to 7 years. So what can this money do for you for your whole lifetime?
Most definitely.
Because people who play in the NBA can make as much as a doctor makes.
Right.
In a certain given time.
Right.
That's not a lifetime of money for most players.
Definitely.
And you have to think of it as a set time of money.
Right.
And you have to plan for it like, okay,
so I
can spend this much and I have to. So part of it is that because they have programs for these rookies, right? The NBA, the NFL, all of them across the board.
Once they
get drafted, they have programs, but they're not doing enough.
Yeah,
to tell people like, take that. You can have $2 out every $8 you make because you need that
to save for the future.
And to pay for your medical bills, really. Knees gonna be bad, elbows gonna be bad, ankles gonna be bad. Things go wrong when you spend your whole life in a physical activity.
And let's say you purchase a home now. Okay, you paid the home off, but you still have to pay taxes.
Oh, taxes high. And no more deductions. No deductions for you.
Exactly. So I don't know if that's why he's focusing on a small group of 80. I don't know. I just think that it's intuitive of him to try to see what he can do. I don't think it's a perfect plan, but it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds.
I think it's interesting. I think what he does is interesting, definitely.
Yeah.
But I saw a review of his ball shoes.
But the dude was like trashing them, like the quality was horrible.
Yeah.
He peeled off the back.
Yeah, and somebody was like, I mean, Nike shoes are like that, but Nike shoes don't cost $500.
The box was falling apart.
So, I mean, I think that at
hopefully
this point, people have like a
that.
laser eye on him, and he has to be very careful about how he brands things. And I'll be honest with you, outside of everything else, he acted like a brat at that tournament. I think it was like an Adidas tournament where he demanded the female ref was removed from the court. I think we talked about it. But he demanded the female ref was removed from the court. And so some of his ways are a little bratty.
No, he's by no means a perfect person. I don't agree with Charles Barkley with demeaning him as a father and this and the other. I agree with his.
I actually agree with Charles Barkley. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that you have to necessarily make your vision your kid's vision. I'll be honest with you. Before his son was about to be drafted, I had never heard of Lavar Ball. And I'm not a big NBA fan. I don't know. Maybe he was very popular, but I don't know.
But
I ain't never heard of him.
I may not agree with what he's doing, but I'm not just going to say he's a bad father.
I'm not going to say he's a bad father.
But that's what Charles Barkley was saying.
Well, but I would not do that. That's not
how you would
my vision for my children.
I agree with that.
Because my vision is mine.
Yeah, I agree with
and
that.
if I can't build my vision on myself, then I have a problem. My son's real cute, guys. He's really cute. But if my vision was, my son's going to be a star and I'm going to be his manager, I would be like, That's a funny looking vision. How is that a vision? Or what if he don't want to be a star? What if he wants to be a mathematician or a teacher or a trap? I mean, my goal as a parent is to support him to do what they want to do.
Exactly.
And I don't know if he's doing it or not, but I could see
him overpowering the
personal decision. I could see why Charles Barkley would have that comment, and so I'm not hating it or not hating it. It's what it is. He got donkey today for it, Charles Barkley. But
for that comment.
But I just don't know. And maybe he knows a little bit closer. But I think a lot of rich kids raise their kids to be kind of like the hustle is missing, and that might be true. It might not be true. I don't know what's going on with his kids, but it's probably true for Charles Barkley's kids. He might see the reflection.
Yeah, but with Lavar Ball, I don't think his kids will have anything to do with the Basketball Association. Because they're with Lithuania, and then they're going to two of them, right? And then the other one's in the league already. So we'll see. We'll definitely keep you guys posted on our updates with this association. Keep you guys updated on how any progress moves with Diddy trying to get the Panthers, and definitely share information with you guys on this tax bill and how it can impact you. On a serious note,
it's coming tomorrow. I'm dropping it tomorrow on
Please do not ignore this or
Conversations and Libations, our Facebook group.
Yes.
And we are talking about lots of stuff, but we're definitely sending the information out for that because we don't want you to be ill prepared. Yes. I think your refund is going to be something it's not.
And for next year, I think if next year for filing taxes in 2018, it'll still be.
Because this is 2017.
Right. So it'll still be the same, but for just kind of how you kind of move and operate for next year, be aware that these changes will come into effect when you file your taxes.
Start a business and call us.
Yes. Did you want to do some pass-through?
Don't say it. She didn't say that. She forgot.
But one thing that's kind of good for, I'm not going to lie, us lawyers, and if you're a doctor or any type of professional, if you have a consulting business, you can deduct a certain amount. I think it's like 20% if you do.
Well, let's just say this. All the deductions that you cannot take as a person,
you can take as a corporation or as a business owner. Yeah. So if you need help starting a business, we're here for you. In Texas.
Anyway, guys, we love this episode. We had lots of fun.
She finished hers, but I'm still sipping.
I'll probably make some more.
Until next time, guys. Have a good one. Like, share, follow.